Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I wanted to do a performance review on this Primary Arms 1:8 scope. Okay, this is the second focal plane. This is the cheaper one. This is the $400 one. And when I bought it at Optics Planet, it was $400 for the scope and mount combination. And I've had this for 2 years already, so I've done plenty of shooting on it. So I've got a good deal of experience with this. I bought this Primary Arms 1:8 with the intention of mounting it on this Ruger MPR. I bought both of these pretty much at the same time. The rifle, back then I paid $620 for it. I think now you can get it for about $550. And the scope and mount I paid $400. I think it was like $380, but let's say $400. So I think that these two are perfectly matched for each other, both in terms of they're both in the same price range. And they're also on the same level, performance-wise. This scope allows you to use this rifle to its potential. Okay, so this is an 18-inch barrel. It's a cold hammer forged. It's got the a really light, smooth 4-pound trigger. Very light recoil because this rifle has a full-length gas system. So let me just show you guys a little shooting I did. I did this earlier today before it got really windy. Right now it's really windy. So today I was shooting 250 yards. Okay, so 250 yards. I got one group here. This is a 5-shot group using Remington 223. So I'm not using I'm not using match grade or expensive ammo. Just cheap Remington 223. 250 yards. Total group 4 inches. Okay, between the furthest 2 shots, and then I have a 3-inch cluster over here. Right, you can see a 3-inch cluster there, and then I got another group. The total grouping was 3.5 inches, 3.5 between the furthest 2 shots, and then I got a 2.5-inch cluster right here. Now, I don't have the best eyes in the world. I'm not the best shooter. Somebody with better eyes than me, who's a better shooter, maybe even on a more stable platform. I was shooting this on a bag. I had it bagged front and back. So it's not like it's stable, but I could definitely see that my chevron was moving a little bit. So it took a little effort to try and keep it as still as possible. With a better, if you can get the rifle supported better, you'll definitely shoot a lot better than this. So I think that somebody that's got better eyes than me will probably shoot 2-inch groups with this rifle at 250 yards. I'm shooting an average of about 4 inches. Okay, and I'll get like these 3-inch clusters at 250. So that's what this scope is doing for me. Like I said, I think it's a great deal. I'm really glad I bought it. It's at 250 yards, I can see that bullseye really clear. It's just excellent. Great combination. So this scope rifle setup is basically for distance. It made sense to put an 8-power scope on top of a rifle that had 18-inch barrel. Most of my other ARs have 16-inch barrels. So this scope with its 8-power allows me to really make use of the slightly longer barrel. The fact that it's cold hammer forged, so it's a little bit better. The fact that it's got a lighter trigger. So it made sense to put this scope on top of this rifle. So the way I see this is a long distance rifle, and because you're able to switch it down to that 1 power, it has close range capabilities. Okay, so in that 1 power, I'm able to come up and basically get on target, really fast, like I would with a red dot. Now, it's not going to work as good as a red dot, but it comes pretty close. And the reticle is illuminated. Normally, I just keep it off. I keep the dial in the 0 position. But if you switch it over to 11, basically that it has that ACSS reticle. When you come up, you see a bright red, so it looks just like a red dot. Okay. The one thing that I keep screwing up with this is I keep forgetting to turn it off when I do use it. I normally don't use it. I try not to use it so I don't forget to leave it on. I am so used to all my red dots at this point that have shake awake, and they'll basically time out in order to conserve the battery. So I'm really used to not turning off my red dots. So with this one over here, I really have to make a conscious effort to remember to turn it off. Okay, it used to be that I had gotten used to not forgetting to turn these things off, but ever since they, shake awake became so common with the red dots where I never have to turn those off, I've kind of gotten out of that habit. So that's the one thing, and this scope, it was, it was designed and put into production before the shake awake technology became so common. So I really can't blame them on that. So that's the one thing. I do wish that this reticle, the illumination, had shake awake features and stuff like that. Okay, so that's the one thing. The other thing that kind of irked me a little bit is the lens covers that come with this are crap. The first time I tried to use it, the front one just broke. Basically the hinge where, you are able to remove them, which I have them removed right now. After it broke, obviously I never even tried to use them. So the lens covers are garbage. They will break if you use them, more than a couple of times. But that's not the end of the world. The other thing is that as far as there's a knob over here, right? It sticks out a little bit where you can kind of put your finger and turn it back and forth. Especially if I got gloves on, but even if I don't, I find it a little hard to grab a hold of it. Adiball makes basically a scope exactly like this. I'm going to guess it probably came out of the same factory in China somewhere. But that one has a, basically it has an extension where you can grab it and flip it. I keep forgetting what it's called. A throw lever. It's called a throw lever. So the Adiball version of this has that throw lever where you can actually just quickly move it back and forth. This one is a little bit harder to move back and forth. So if you're shooting, like if you have it on 8 power and you're shooting long distance, right? And then what happens is you take that shot and now you want to transition to a close target. You got to make an effort to really turn it back. So it takes a little bit longer. If it had that throw lever, it would have been a much quicker transition. So that's the one thing that happened. I do wish this had a longer throw lever for switching it back and forth more easy. And I understand some people are not going to like that, but I believe that the way those levers work is they kind of screw in and screw out. So if you don't want it, you can unscrew it and you don't have to use it. The one that from Adiball though, it does not have the ACSS reticle, so that one doesn't have built-in bullet drop compensation and range estimation. I mean, they do give you a reticle that you can learn to use in that capacity, but I really like the advanced combat sighting system. That's what the ACCS stands for. I really like it. I'm glad I paid extra because I paid $400 for this. I think that one is $300, but you don't get the base, so it ends up coming pretty close. So I decided to definitely get this one that has the ACSS reticle. It really helps when you're shooting at distance. And you can do all sorts of fun exercises. I mean, if you're at a range that has some real distance, you can take a life-size silhouette and go out there and randomly put it at different distances, without knowing exactly what distance you're out at, and then use the reticle to basically try and figure out what distance you're at and what your holdover needs to be. So you can definitely have some fun with this. But all in all, I think this is a great scope. And I believe that it really belongs on this Ruger MPR. I think these two were, kind of meant for each other. Okay, so this is the primary arms, 1 to 8, second focal plane on top of the Ruger MPR. And I've done separate reviews on this Ruger MPR. That's why I didn't go too deep into the detail of this. I really wanted to focus on this scope at the distances that I'm shooting at. I think it's great. I can easily see doubling those distances and even going beyond that. And I will be trying that out in the next couple of months. The reticle's working great. The illumination, the reticle illuminator when you put it on, it's nice and bright. There is a big drop from like setting number 11 to setting number 10. There is a big drop. I think they probably did it on purpose that way because they really wanted setting number 11 to be like really bright so that it actually looks like a red dot. And then after that they go a little bit dimmer, which is probably going to be more useful because when you're shooting at distance, you don't want the reticle, you don't want the brightness of the reticle overwhelming your target. Usually when I will shoot it at distance, I will keep it off. Okay, I don't use the illumination on the reticle at all. I just use the black etching. I have shot this rifle at night using a 1000 lume stream light. I had it mounted on the side here. I did a different review on that, but really quick, at 170 yards at night, using the light, I was able to get, I think, about a 4-inch group at 170 yards. And the reason is, because of that magnification, because at 170 yards at night, even when you shine that 1000 lume light out there, it's really, you really can't see much at 170 yards. The 1000 lume light is great for 50 yards, even 75, 100 yards is really stretching it, if you're trying to take a really well-aimed, precise shot. But using that magnification, you turn it up to the 8 power, I'm able to see a target like the one I just showed you a few minutes ago out at 170 yards. I tried pushing it back to 200 yards. I could not see it at all, even with the magnification. Of course, it has nothing to do with the scope. That has to do with the light. That's just the limit of that light. So I was able to shoot this at night, out to 170 yards. Actually, I'm loving it. I'm really glad I bought it. And like I said, just three things. Number one, the caps that came with this were junk, so that's the only negative. The other negative, not really negative, but I really wish that it had a better throw lever over here, so that would make it a lot easier for me, especially when I'm working with gloves. And the other thing, in order to improve this, that they could do is if the electronics, right, the illumination on a reticle, if it had some type of an auto shut off feature or shake awake, that would improve this. But it's probably not worth making it more expensive. Okay, I paid $400 on this. Most of the time I am shooting it at daytime, at distance, and I'm not even turning on the reticle. I'm just using the black etching, so it's probably not worth paying a whole lot more money. So I'd rather keep this in that $400 range and get it even cheaper if I could, because mainly you're buying it so that you can you have that 1 to 8 power, so that you can shoot at distance and then zoom back, and have a rifle that you can use at close range. So those are my thoughts on this. If you guys have any questions about this, please post it in the comment section. And like I said at the beginning of the video, I've been using this scope rifle for 2 years now. So I've had, in all sorts of different conditions: summertime, wintertime, nighttime. So I have a good deal of experience with this scope and rifle setup. So if you guys got any questions, let me know. I'd be happy to answer them for you guys. If you're not a member of the channel, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.